Hola, buenas tardes a todos. Muchas gracias por estar aquí. Bienvenidos a la edición número 33 de nuestro Design Wednesday. Hoy es una edición especial porque por primera vez la hacemos aquí en Ciudad, en nuestros headquarters. ¿Y por qué la hacemos aquí? Para los que estáis familiarizados con este evento, sabéis que en las últimas ediciones somos los propios miembros del diseño, uno de los miembros de diseño, quienes presentamos e impulsamos uno de los temas que tenemos aquí. Y a mí me ha tocado esta vez el placer de presentarlo porque llevo muchísimos años hablando de temas de impacto de diseño en el negocio, persiguiendo KPIs, hablando del valor, hablando de los resultados sobre el negocio. Y qué mejor que hacerlo que con el equipo de McKinsey, que nos presenta un reporte que se presentó hace casi un año, donde nos cuenta cómo las prácticas de diseño, hablando de prácticas de diseño como tener un Chief Design Officer o testar y evaluar cualquier producto MVP en contexto de usabilidad, es una práctica de diseño, cómo correlaciona con los resultados financieros de la empresa. Pues bien, está bien que yo lo cuente, pero mejor que el equipo de McKinsey nos lo explique. Tenemos hoy a Alberto Torres. Alberto es un socio de la oficina de España de Madrid. Se acaba de reincorporar a McKinsey el año pasado y además de eso ha pasado unos 15 años trabajando en temas de transformación digital, creación de negocios, impacto de negocio. Es un advocate del diseño en toda su fuerza y nos viene a contar el reporte. Junto a él está Pedro Tolipan de la oficina de Londres. Pedro es un VP de diseño, lleva el equipo de diseño en la oficina de diseño de McKinsey Diseño en Londres y lleva muchos años trabajando en temas de diseño, hablando de experiencia de cliente, hablando del impacto del diseño dentro de la organización. Bienvenidos y muchísimas gracias por estar aquí.
Gracias. Gracias, Marga. Gracias al BBVA por invitarme y gracias a todos vosotros por haber venido a escuchar, ¿no? Hace más o menos 25 años fui a una entrevista con McKinsey. Estaba muy afónico, mucho peor que hoy. Disculpadme que si no me escucháis bien. Y espero que esto vaya al menos tan bien como aquello, porque obviamente me dieron una oferta. Y fui a McKinsey porque yo era un programador, y un emprendedor, había hecho una compañía de software y me interesaba mucho el impacto de la tecnología en el mundo y en el mundo a través de los negocios. Después de unos 10 años me fui de McKinsey porque estaba muy interesado en crear productos y hacer cosas visibles y tuve la oportunidad en distintos roles directivos en el consejo de trabajar en empresas como Nokia, como Vertu, como Bang & Olufsen, Hewlett Packard, incluso fui CEO de una startup en Silicon Valley. Algunos de estos son mejores ejemplos que otros de diseño, pero creo que durante ese periodo de tiempo me hice igualmente fanático del diseño que de la tecnología, porque creo que para realmente apalancar el cambio y las soluciones tecnológicas es fundamental entender al consumidor, entender al usuario final, y esta visión de diseño pues, tiene una importancia tremenda para mí. Y de hecho, cuando me reincorporé a McKinsey, que lo hice como dice Marga, hace unos año y medio, lo hice en buena parte porque McKinsey hoy día está atacando problemas distintos de los que quizás se nos suele asociar, como situaciones de decisiones estratégicas y demás. Pero claro, cuando McKinsey, que siempre ha sido una empresa que piensa sobre cuál es la agenda del top management de un negocio, empieza a pensar en temas de diseño, y empezamos a pensar en temas de diseño ¿por qué? Porque había algunos de nuestros clientes que pensaban que el diseño era algo fundamental, y también teníamos algunos de nuestros socios que pensaban que era algo fundamental, pero McKinsey es un sitio muy de analizarlo todo y de hacer, de tratar de entender la data. Entonces se decidió hacer un estudio por 5 años en el cual hemos visto 300 empresas públicas y hemos medido, por una parte, una cantidad de indicadores y actividades que están relacionadas con el diseño, desde puntos organizacionales hasta procesos, etc. Y por otra parte, hemos visto cuál ha sido el desempeño financiero de estas empresas. Y lo que encontramos es que las empresas que lo hacían bien en diseño, pues eran recompensadas por un mayor crecimiento y un mayor valor de mercado. De hecho, para ponerlo más simple, cuando veíamos el 25% de empresas que estaban en el cuarto tope de nuestro índice de diseño, que es una metodología que creamos para medir un poco la penetración y el uso del diseño en las compañías, y lo correlacionábamos con el crecimiento y con el valor que generaba el negocio, nos encontrábamos una diferencia muy marcada, 30% de crecimiento adicional desde el punto de vista de este 25% superior, y 56% en ventas, en crecimiento de ventas, y 56% en crecimiento de valor al accionista. Entonces, esto era unos resultados muy potentes, ¿no? Cuando entramos un poco más de detalle en estos números, salieron algunas cosas muy interesantes. Una de ellas es que, claro, cuando alguien ve unos números agregados de estos, dice, bueno, a lo mejor son dos compañías, es Apple y no sé cuánto, que están sesgando todo esto. Sin embargo, cuando lo hicimos, primero, empresas de producto y comparamos con empresas de servicio, pues la misma relación se daba tanto en empresas de producto como en empresas de servicio. Lo miramos en empresas de distintos sectores. En todos los sectores donde teníamos una representación importante, encontramos que había una diferencia brutal y marcada. Y cuando veáis algunos de los ejemplos que voy a hablar, algunos de ellos serán compañías que a lo mejor serían bastante naturales de pensar, pero otras menos, ¿no? El otro punto que era muy interesante sobre estos números es que no resultaba que un poquito de mejora del diseño inmediatamente tenía un beneficio. De hecho, los 3 primeros cuartos de la muestra no tenían una diferencia muy marcada. Eran los que lo hacían realmente bien, los que realmente se habían tomado diseño como parte de la compañía, los que tenían este beneficio. Lo cual para mí tiene mucho sentido, porque cuando yo pienso en el diseño, yo pienso en poner al cliente al centro del negocio, que obviamente si creamos valor para el cliente deberíamos capturar valor, deberíamos crear productos que la gente y las empresas quieren comprar, y que además si son diferenciales, porque los hacemos mejor que la competencia, deberíamos tener una ventaja competitiva allí, ¿no? Y por otra parte, creo que también es importante cuando pensamos en esto, que hay el diseño lleva a la innovación, a la creación de nuevos negocios, y la creación de nuevos negocios genera valor. Entonces, para mí era bastante de sentido común. Sin embargo, cuando mirábamos y preguntábamos un poco más en detalle distintos indicadores de actitudes, nos dábamos cuenta que lo que a lo mejor se podía pensar como sentido común, pues no era tan común. Entonces, por ejemplo, la mitad de las compañías de esta muestra pues, no hacían casi ningún tipo de user testing de ninguno de los productos o servicios que tenían. Y el 95%, esto me ha parecido un número muy particular, el 95% de personas en posiciones de liderazgo que fueron entrevistadas decían que, oye, es que el problema es que el diseño no se puede medir. El diseño es una cosa de sensaciones y de sentimientos y no hay manera de medirlo. Entonces, lo que intentamos ver es entrar un poco más en detalle y entender cuáles eran los factores fundamentales que llevaban a que una compañía lo hiciese bien en diseño o no lo hiciese tan bien. Y lo que notamos es que había 4 pilares fundamentales para hablar de una empresa que realmente tomaba el diseño como una capacidad fundamental. El primero, y le llamamos, es más que un sentimiento, ¿no? Lo que quiero decir, lo que decimos por eso es que hay una capacidad analítica y de reflexión sobre el valor del diseño en todos los momentos. Hay una visión de medir, por ejemplo, la respuesta del cliente, medir, o sea, realmente convencernos que hay un valor creado por el diseño y no simplemente decir, oye, pues ahora somos más cool y porque tenemos más diseñadores. Yo creo que este es un punto que era fundamental, el tener esa disciplina y tener el apoyo, no solamente el apoyo de toda la compañía, que ya entraremos en esto en más detalle. Relacionado con esto, los sitios que lo hacían bien consideraban diseño como una capacidad que estaba muy integrada con el resto de la compañía. No era un departamento, o en el peor de los casos a veces se traían y ponían en algún sitio medio atractivo, ponían una oficina muy bonita para traer diseñadores, se traían algo de talento, pero estaban completamente desconectados de la compañía. El conectarlos en la compañía, el conectarlos con los procesos de la compañía era fundamental. Y por otra parte, desde el punto de vista de cuándo se aplicaba el diseño, había 2 cosas muy importantes. Una es que no se veía el diseño como algo que se hacía al principio y ya, bueno, pues ya está hecho y lo lanzamos y a ver qué tal. O sea, normalmente las compañías que lo hacían muy bien iteraban, generaban, o sea, había elementos de diseño en toda la cadena de valor y había una sensación de iteración bastante rápida, sobre todo en algunos sectores. Finalmente, sobre todo para empresas que vendían productos físicos, la gente que vende productos físicos empieza a pensar en el diseño como puramente algo de cuál es la apariencia del producto. Y realmente lo que nosotros encontramos es que los que lo hacían bien pensaban en la experiencia completa del cliente, desde cómo se vendía, cómo se atendía al cliente, cómo era el empaquetamiento, todos los elementos que contribuían a la experiencia del cliente se tomaban en cuenta. Voy a hablar de cuatro ejemplos para ejemplificar alguno de estos. El primero es Intuit, que es una empresa que tuve el placer de conocer más o menos también poco antes de aquella entrevista hace 25 años, cuando todavía era estudiante en Stanford. Tuve la oportunidad de ir a una reunión con Scott Cook, que era el fundador de Intuit. Intuit era una compañía que en aquel momento había empezado un software de manejo de finanzas personales. Esta compañía, pues la verdad que, bueno, era la compañía número 47 en ese sector, en lanzarse en el mercado. Le costó muchísimo dinero le costó muchísimo trabajo conseguir dinero para financiarla. De hecho, Scott Cook tuvo que tomar una hipoteca en su casa y hacer que sus familiares le prestaran dinero para lanzar esta compañía. Y ya cuando estábamos hablando con ellos, era más o menos la época en que Microsoft había lanzado un producto similar, todo el mundo les daba por muertos. Y bueno, pues es una compañía que hoy día tiene una valoración de mercado de 65.000 millones de dólares. 65.000 millones de dólares. Y que factura unos 7.000 millones de dólares con una rentabilidad pero brutal. Es una compañía que se ha reinventado en los años muchas veces y una de las razones fundamentales que Scott Cook ya en aquel momento hablaba, y en aquel momento no hablaba tanto de user experience, pero decía, es que aquí tenemos un enfoque en hacer las cosas simples para el cliente, que es lo que nos ha mantenido, han tenido vivos durante todo este tiempo. Y en contra de todas las corrientes, pues han creado una compañía extremadamente potente y lo han hecho con un enfoque en diseño muy fuerte. Siempre ha habido diseñadores en el equipo directivo. Siempre ha habido por ejemplo, uno de los mandatos que tienen es que todos los directivos tienen que ver clientes, me parece que son como 12 veces al año. O sea, hay una cantidad de rutinas y de procesos de medición y de involucración en las decisiones que se han mantenido hasta hoy y que son realmente muy fundamentales, lo cual contrasta con lo que hacen muchas compañías que a veces o bien no se valora el diseño o a veces hasta los ejecutivos que les interesa el diseño y los mismos diseñadores a veces son sus propios enemigos porque se enamoran demasiado de las soluciones propuestas sin realmente una posición crítica de medir lo que se hace y de buscar de manera sistemática lo que funciona y lo que no funciona. Como decía antes, una parte fundamental es pensar cómo garantizar que el diseño esté en todo lo que es la estructura de la compañía, en cómo se hacen las cosas y que no sea un departamento y que obviamente es una compañía muy conocida por diseño. Pero ellos han tenido muchas dificultades en sus muchos años y han probado varios modelos organizacionales. Fundamentalmente, al final han decidido que era muy importante que los diseñadores estuviesen con las unidades de negocio, incluso las unidades de negocio locales, a pesar de que haya un grupo central que genere capacidades y que ayude a crear las herramientas que sean necesarias. El tener los diseñadores muy cerca de tanto la parte comercial como de los mercados ha sido una de las cosas fundamentales que ellos han logrado. Sobre el punto de iteración continua y la idea de que el diseño no es solamente una fase, sino que hay que hacerlo, quizás aquí el ejemplo mundial que es de los más potentes es precisamente el de Inditex y de Zara. O sea, el modelo de creación de productos de Zara, que me imagino que la mayoría lo conocen, es realmente impresionante, hasta el punto, esta bufanda rosa es una historia de creo que fue en el 2015, donde pues, a través de sistemas informales de comunicación entre ellos, se dieron cuenta que había gente yendo a tiendas y preguntando si había una bufanda rosa. Y esto lo encontraron en Tokio, en 4 o 5 ciudades en el mundo. Por alguna razón que quién sabe cuál era, a lo mejor fue alguien del mundo de la moda. La diferencia con lo que ha hecho Zara y lo que harían muchas compañías, tenían la capacidad de tener en 3 semanas 500.000 bufandas rosas con varios diseños y probando inmediatamente lo que estaban haciendo. Esto es algo que obviamente es una capacidad brutal y que permite que, por ejemplo, el número de visitas de cliente a una tienda de Zara sea más o menos 17 al año, cuando una tienda normal tiene visitas de 3 o 4 veces al año de cada cliente. Les permite reducir los descuentos de mercancía. Cuando la mercancía llega al punto de descuento, normalmente se descuenta aproximadamente un 35%, en el caso de Zara es más o menos la mitad. Y obviamente esta es una historia de creación de valor que prácticamente todo el mundo aquí conoce, ¿no? Uno que quizás no se conoce tanto es el de John Deere. John Deere es una compañía que hace tractores. O sea, qué cosa menos glamorosa y sexy que hacer tractores. Y claro, lo que ellos descubrieron hace más o menos al principios de este siglo, en el año 2000, decidieron que realmente no estaban en el negocio de tractores, sino que estaban en el negocio de ayudar a los agricultores y a los constructores en las empresas, en los sectores que tenían, a ser más productivos y a darles soluciones completas. Empezaron a crear una cantidad de soluciones digitales, empezaron a crear un ecosistema abierto donde se podían integrar incluso otras maquinarias. Entonces, un sector que es un sector que a principio se puede considerar un sector pues, tradicional y aburrido, lo lograron transformar completamente y desde el 2000 hasta ahora más o menos han creado casi 5 veces el valor de mercado que tenían cuando empezaron. Pues en resumen, como decía, las 4 cosas que os dejamos uno es ser analítico y tratar el diseño como una inversión importante y no como algo que es solamente un pasatiempo. El integrar el diseño en todo lo que hace la compañía, el iterar y el introducir el diseño no solamente en la creación de algo nuevo, sino en la iteración y la mejora de todo lo que se hace. Y el pensar un poco en la estrategia de experiencia de cliente de una manera más allá de lo que es el mero producto o un elemento un elemento único de la experiencia de cliente. Si yo tuviese que poner una quinta, es que no solamente es más que un sentimiento y más que un departamento, sino también hay que pensar más allá de las barreras de la industria. Porque cada industria pues, asume cosas sobre sus consumidores que son un poco bueno, particulares de la industria y a lo mejor se pueden cambiar. Entonces, un poco para pues mostraros, ilustrar este punto y también yo creo que para que veáis algo que creo que es interesante, os vamos a mostrar un vídeo. Pero después del vídeo, Pedro os va a contar en inglés un poco nuestro viaje como McKinsey, como cuando le hablamos a compañías que están tratando de adoptar el diseño, pues nosotros estamos haciendo lo mismo. Nosotros no somos una empresa de diseño, somos una empresa que viene del mundo de la consultoría y llevamos un proceso bastante largo de introducir el diseño en lo que hacemos y Pedro os va a contar un poco eso. Pero bueno, os dejo con este vídeo que espero que os dé algunas ideas de cómo a lo mejor lo que pensamos en una industria no necesariamente aplica a todo.
cappuccino, please.
I have to pop you on hold while I transfer you to the coffee department.
Hi there, how can I help?
She said she's put me through to the coffee department. I don't quite get
Coffee department, sorry, you got through to the lager department. Give me a minute.
it. No?
Would you like to make an application for some food or drink today? I just need the first line of your address and your mother's maiden name.
What?
I'm just going to pop you on hold while I transfer you to the wine department. Is that okay?
Double Havana 7 and Coke, please.
Oh, blimey, that's completely on my reach. I'll put you on hold for that one, okay?
We reserve the right to cancel your fish and chips without prior notification. However, if you do not notify us in writing...
Business is important to us.
Hi there, what can I get you? Thank you very much, that's £5.
Cappuccino's £5.
£6, Synchronous charges. Certainly, that'll be £100 of unnecessary charges.
Oh, how much? For a wine and a... What?
Yeah, so it's £6 for the wine, and then the rest is unnecessary charges.
No.
I'm afraid I can't accept your payment at the moment.
I'll get you in a minute. I'm going to pull you over the bar. We both over here having a conversation.
I can put you onto our conversation.
Awful.
Yeah, it was awful, yeah.
Eventually I felt a bit angry and I wanted to give up.
Wherever you go, if you pay for a service and it was bad, you wouldn't go back. The service was absolutely terrible, and I thought I'd never come back again.
Thank you for your custom today. Would you mind taking a short survey? Your feedback is so important to us.
thank you.
Good video, no? Anyone sleeping already? No? Some folks at the back there? So by now you must be asking yourself, he's got a Spanish name, he looks kind of Spanish, he's kind of Spanish size. Why the hell doesn't he speak Spanish? So I apologize in advance. I am actually from Brazilian family, but I was born in London and lived in London most of my life. So I do speak kind of, small talk in Spanish. So if you grab me for a drink afterwards, I'm happy to do some Spanglish or Portuñol or one of those. So, I'm here to talk a little bit about the journey, particularly that I had at McKinsey and how that connects to the overall journey of McKinsey design. And I think I will kind of every now and again drop some of the correlations with the business value of design that you've just heard. So similar to Alberto, I also got a call 4 years ago from one of the McKinsey recruiters, and they started like this. They started like, "Hey Pedro, we've seen your profile. We really think you'd be a good fit for us." And I was like, "Really? I'm a designer. I've known McKinsey obviously for their amazing consultancy pedigree, and I had friends, probably the most clever people I've ever met in my life. Used to work for McKinsey. So at first sight, I said, no, that must be a mistake, right?" So I thought, well, I'll give it a go. I had 7 interviews, did a couple of design challenges, and I started. And this was at the end of 2014 when I joined. And I joined what we was called back then kind of McKinsey Digital Labs, which then became McKinsey Digital. And we were very small, so one of the few designers they had, so I think I was number 3. We had some developers, we had some agile coaches, we had a couple of product owners, and then a sea of consultants. Right? And my initial experience wasn't the best. Right? I remember one anecdote that I tell people, which one partner was drawing something on a piece of paper, and then I came in and said, "Hey Pedro, can you make that look good?" And I was like, "What? What are you talking about?" Yeah, can you make those slides in PowerPoint?" And I said, "No, that's not what I do." And said, "Oh, you one of the coders, right?" I said, "Nope." I said, "What do you do?" I said, "I'm a designer." Right? And interesting to say, because we've been talking a lot about, and I don't know if there's discussion that goes on with you guys, about the 3 phases of design. Right? So design a few years ago, it was really about making things look good. The graphic designers, Product designers, they were more kind of concerned about the way it looks than kind of the ergonomics, the way kind of it was. A chair was won award for the way it looked more than the way it felt when you sat on it. Right? So then it rapidly became phase 2, where it's all about designing for the user, and it's kind of where we are now. Right? It's all about user experience, understanding end-to-end touch points, and so on. But then the next phase that is kind of approaching fast is, which I call kind of design of everything. Right? So it's not just about designing for the user, it's designing for literally everything, every scenario, everyone in the world. Right? So this journey that we've been, and likely many other consultancies you know, they either kind of acquired smaller niche design agencies, or bigger design agencies joined up together and then became part of WPP or Publicis or Omnicom. McKinsey started just growing their design team from within. So by the time we acquired Lunar in 2015, we're not too dissimilar to the size that we are now. So we are now about 25 designers in London, a mix of product, digital product, physical product, service design, design researchers, and we work very closely with the rest of the digital team, which is still DevOps, front-end development, product, and agile. Probably one of the biggest change that we had, especially in Europe, when in 2016, we acquired a company called Veriday in Stockholm. I don't know, for the mothers in the room, they designed the baby Bjorn, where you carry your baby here. And they have lots of awards and patents and so on. And that was for the first time that I felt my own personal story in terms of trying to fit culturally, and how do you fit a big established organization, which is also very successful, into the overall McKinsey realm. And it's been a tough journey for them, but there's such a buzz around design at the moment at McKinsey, right? I think everyone is excited about the possibility. I think this survey that we did really well for us, because as a designer, I put my hand up for a long time. I've been quite slow to see the business side of things as well, right? So we always say we're very good at putting ourselves in the shoes of the customers, but we also need to be better at putting ourselves in the shoes of CEOs and so on, to see from their perspective as well, to be able to communicate the value that we bring to the table. And today, I looked at even my career 10 years ago, even less, I would never thought I would be sitting in a table of a Fortune 500 company, sitting with the CEO talking about innovation and the future of the organization. So it's quite a kind of lift from where I started, and to McKinsey to be able to bring us alongside them to these top meetings. It's a big shift in their own culture and mindset as well. So we are now 400 plus designers, the mix of what I said, scatter across the globe. And this is really interesting, right? Because, again, this is my philosophical view of things. So I think we are in a very delicate time in history, in the world, and everything, right? You can see, I've experienced the whole Brexit malarkey very close, but there's really a thin line which holds our notion of kind of civilization and safety and security and the things that we're able to enjoy in life. And you look around, there's so many angry people, and it will take really a small thing to the whole thing just come crumbling down. It's my opinion. And so all these important issues in the world, but one of the things we're doing now at the back of the business value of design is we're starting to research to understand what is the societal value of design, what's the environmental value of design, right, to go along the business value of design. And McKinsey Design, although we're part of the overall McKinsey, we embrace their own values, but we start thinking, how can we create real change from the work that we do, right? So we do digital transformation. We do a lot of types of work. We work with massive organizations, with banks, telcos, but we're trying to also to understand how can we bring our expertise to actually bring real change to society. And I want to share with you this, I think, quite remarkable example of work that we did recently in Rwanda. So only 20% of the population of Rwanda is banked, have kind of bank accounts, have banking financial service products, right? And 80% of the population are farmers, either directly or indirectly. So the brief to us is how can we bring this massive population of farmers into a financial ecosystem, right? Where they can start having a financial history so they can potentially apply for a loan. Right? And the interesting about this scenario is the farmers had to travel quite a long way to deal with, what's the name? Forgot. Which buy them seeds, which sell them seeds and materials for them to use on that plantations. So we wanted to create something that would work for the farmers, but the farmers themselves. So we created a mobile wallet on feature phones, the old Nokia from the 90s, which is most type of devices that these people have. So they can go and digitally pay for their seeds and for their material and so on, right? And this would start recording their financial transactions. You start getting their financial history, all kind of around the Bank of Kigali. But these people, normally they wouldn't go like 1-2 days trip to where the centers were, where they can meet those guys to do these transactions. So they actually gave us the solution. So they wanted something that they could carry on their pocket, that they could give to people to then go there and do those transactions, people that worked for them. So we created this RFID little key fob, like the ones that we carry to open doors in buildings. So they would go with this. They would load through an SMS platform. They would load some money on the RFID. They would go and pay, and then the guy back on the farm would receive like a text message, and with saying that transaction is being done, right? So and then the third product that we created. So we created the SMS on the phone, the mobile wallet on a feature phone. We created the RFID key fob. And then we also create a Android app for smartphones for these people in towns to also be able to accept the payment and manage the payment coming from these people. Right? So at the end, we managed to, oops, too fast. There you go. So we managed to get 1 million customers to adhere to apply for this scheme. Right? So put this into perspective. So it's 1 million people that now could start dreaming about getting into this financial ecosystem, potentially getting a loan, to be able to send their kids to the towns to go and study in schools. So this types of projects, although it's not the bulk of what we do, right? But more and more, and especially now in this, as I said, kind of troubled times, I think McKinsey is such a unique and privileged position to be able to facilitate that connection, that relationship, to allow us design team to come and do research and spend time on the field and really kind of unravel what are kind of the unmet needs around the globe, not just for top financial organizations, but also for people in farms down in Rwanda. So, and then the other thing is, it's another big part of what I do. So we did there. So we created a mini digital factory for them. So we hired some technical people to be able to create this product, to be able to update the products. We brought our design team initially to do the research and to design the experience. And then we hired a couple of local people to maintain that. Obviously, quite hard to find talent, but as I was saying, a big part of what I do now, even if it is, so I have working for a large bank in the UK, we're building a new digital business from scratch, separate business from the mothership, separate location, different platform, completely separate from their core banking system, and we're building the team for them. So we started with 20 people, now we're 150, in a really kind of startup environment, different mindset, different ways of working. We've been hiring the whole design, product, technical team, building their capabilities, installing all kind of, from a design perspective, kind of all the design systems, design tools, getting them trained. And the fact that we are not, so we are based at WeWork, so we got a co-location place, because if you were based at that mothership, it's outside London, it's very corporate, it would be very hard to attract talent. So we're doing this completely separate. So I spend quite a lot of time on building capabilities. And the fact that I'm able to do that in London for a big bank, but also able to do that in some African country, which has, we take for granted what we know. Imagine, how it is in terms of subdevelopment in these areas, and how much impact you can have just with a conversation. So that's actually the main message I wanted to get across. We're still in its infancy in terms of integrating design with the rest of McKinsey. London, Berlin, New York is quite more advanced, but other places is less. The business value of design, we're on the second phase of it now. I understand a lot of what he said, but not everything. So I don't know if he talks a little bit about the MDI, so the McKinsey Design Index, which is a survey which is online, is mckinseydesignindex.com, which is available for everybody. So it takes about half an hour to complete. It just asks lots of questions about some key design metrics, as Alberto was saying, some financial metrics, and then gives you a score at the end. Right? So we're really pushing this to come to lots of different organizations to do that, so we can get more data outside just where we started, just going one-on-one interviews. And what we're doing now, apart from the societal and environmental value of design, we realize that this relationship between chief design officers, chief digital officers, and the CEO of the company is one of the key places where some misalignment happens, right? So the expectations that a lead designer in an organization has, more often than not, doesn't match the expectation that a CEO has. So we spend a lot of time interviewing these two different profiles and creating kind of what is this next step for this? What does that mean? What does it go from here? No? How can we create more visibility for design at the top of companies? And how can we make sure that designers, when they get there, they're successful, right? Because getting there is one thing, kind of being successful is a separate thing. People ask me a lot about, these companies that are performing well, what's next for them? How do they keep performing? And it's interesting because you see good case studies there, Nokia, Kodak, Blockbusters, and so on, which they thought they have it all and they got it everything, and they fail really, really quickly. And it's interesting because we really kind of pray and live by the values of failing fast. And the faster you fail, the quicker you can get back on your feet and understand, which direction you should take. And the fact that companies need to do quite a lot of work to maintain them relevant in the market, in an ever-changing market and very volatile market. It requires quite a lot of effort, especially from us designer, to understand the context that we live in, to understand the context the business operates, to understand the context that our customers interact with these products and services. Oops, not so fast. Can you go back to the one tila before the thank you, please? Which is the final message to kind of draw into your hearts. Oh, sorry, I'm in control. So while I leave, hang on. There. You've seen all this. We actually have, I'm happy to share with you, we have more material on that. We have data that we're happy to share. I would encourage you guys to actually go to mckinseydesignindex.com and just do the survey. because I think as you go through it, you'll understand the types of questions that we're asking and how we kind of got to these outcomes. Nope. I can also, the videos you can look on YouTube. Don't people say in presentation, you tell them what you want to say, then you say it, and then you tell them what you just said? So this is it. Just forcing it through into you guys. There, right? I really believe that we as designers, we're in a unique position. We have superpowers to really change the way we live our lives and how we affect other people. So I know it's been a long way just to say this, but thank you very much. We will be taking questions in English and in Spanish as well. So we'll take questions in Portuguese and French. We'll find a way.
Thank you, Pedro and Alberto. For the ones outside BBVA, para los de fuera de BBVA, hay micrófonos en los asientos, en la tapa que tenéis en el reposabrazos. No podéis usarlos todos a la vez. El que quiera preguntar, no saquéis todos el micrófono, no hace falta. Solo los que vais a preguntar. Si alguien tiene una pregunta, tenemos 10 minutitos de preguntas. ¿Nadie? Ahora tenéis curiosidad del micrófono, pero lo importante son las preguntas.
Do they work? Amazing. They do work.
Sí. No, ahora te lo enciendo.
Hi.
Oh. Wow.
Hi, in English, right? Thank you very
No.
We can hear you. Okay, I'll repeat your question if it doesn't work.
Hi. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Thank you very much for the presentation and everything.
You're welcome.
Thanks for coming. You talked about the 5 pillars you believe in when companies are integrating design in the right way. How they can actually measure the progress and advancements. But at some moment, you told that there's a risk in getting in love with a solution. And my question is, what are the most common red flags you have seen that some company believes is integrating design well, but it isn't?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a couple of examples that are well known on this type of issue, which is people get enamored with design. And actually, it tends to happen with executives and designers that have been very strong and very successful, and they believe in design, but they get to a point where they start to believe their own gut feeling above everything else. And usually, the signs are, number one, have you actually tested any of these with any customers? Or even more so, have you even tested and you are going against what your test said, which is actually quite common. I mean, there were a number of examples. I mean, there were a number of fairly famous examples of, for example, Tropicana making a pretty significant change in the way they advertise orange juice. It created this really kind of very appealing and modern orange juice packages and so forth, and the cartons. And then, I mean, in the end, they had to go back because people hated it. They didn't really recognize it as orange juice. They wanted to see the oranges out there. And there's the whole new Coke and many other examples of situations where people say, okay, we're gonna do something that feels cool. And I mean, the other one is one of my favorites. I mean, I don't know how many of you have been to a design hotel, so-called, that is super cool, but nothing really works. And there are quite a number of those. And I think it comes down to whether people are truly testing what works and what doesn't work with customers for the most part.
Yeah, I have one massive mistake that a lot of companies make is you suddenly realize we've got to invest in design. So let's build this amazing looking, whizzy, jazzy design center somewhere. We're going to hire lots of the best designers, and then do it separate from that main company, right? Which doesn't work. So no matter how good your designers are, how fancy and amazing your studio is, if designers are not embedded in cross-functional teams within the company, then you can be sure that things are not going to work.
It's also amazing when when you test things, that your assumptions about what the customer will perceive are often, I mean, sometimes they're right a lot of times. They're also wrong in some very fundamental ways. I remember testing some when I was at Alberto. We used to sell luxury mobile phones, and we made some things like, we created some products that to us felt like completely natural extensions of all the things that we had, or even tested advertising where we put a phone next to an engine, and the phone was designed with elements and materials that resemble a fast car, but people thought that putting a phone on top of an engine just looked really weird, and they didn't understand that. Like, what? But why are you putting it on top of the engine? So there were little things like these that we were really focused on trying to understand, but you could easily kind of get enamored by the concept and not go there.
Hey, hello. Congratulations and thank you to both of you for your presentation. My question is for Pedro. Pedro, you talk about your design team. Now we are talking about the expert profile inside the design team. How do you manage that? How do you communicate to your clients that you need service designers, UX writers, you need research, you need creative tech, not only designers as well?
Very good question. I'm trying to summarize because we can engage in this conversation for a long time, but some profiles are easier to explain than others, right? So the way that, I'll give you this example of this client I have now in London, this bank. So the way to explain is I draw them a picture, right? Because I really want our product designers, or digital product design, which is a mix of UX and UI, to be embedded across different squads. If you think of the Spotify model, right? So a designer, one or two designers, tech, and then a product person, right? And then we have multiple of these, right? So we have, let's say, one for onboarding, one for payments, one for self-service, one for, we call it like branch experience, so everything that happens that's non-digital. And then across the top, I draw to them. So in here are the designers that are not going to be embedded into these squads, but they're going to just feed information, they're going to get information, feed information back into the squads across it. And they're going to be our design researchers and service designers. And the way I explain, so the design researchers, we actually go and do the ethnographic research. They'll prepare surveys, they run focus groups, and so on. So be solely responsible for feeding insights into the different squads, right? And then since we're doing something that is digital first, so we're starting with a mobile app, so you can onboard on a mobile app. But this company has a massive branch network, right? So we want to also leverage their branch. So we're thinking, should we redesign some of their branches? Should we have a presence in every branch or something different? Should we train staff to speak differently to customers if they come looking for this specific type of service, right? So the service designer is looking across all channels, all touch points, and this person is really connecting the experience that the customer has with all the enablers below. So what is the technical enablers? What is the business enabler? What is risk, compliance, legal? What do they fit? So his or she is responsible for paint this picture to the rest of the business of understanding, okay, this is our whole ecosystem and how it fits together, right? I had another point to make that I forgot, which is about the type of, so something is coming up that we're working on. It's called Design DevOps, right? Which is, we have a couple of designers who is really like a hybrid between a design and a tech person, right? So they've been working, most of our designers work with Sketch, but some of our designers work with Figma, some they use Framer X, and We are creating this software that allows designers to own the front end. So developers do not touch the front end anymore. They focus on what they like doing the most. So they don't have to like tweak, if you want to change the typeface, change the color, make things bigger, whatever you want to do on the front end. The designers have complete control by just working in Figma or Sketch, and this tool publishes in React Native, whatever the designer is doing. So it's quite, it doesn't work properly yet, but the fact that we're nurturing this type, and it's not just the tool anyone can develop, right? But the skill set, the mindset of the designer being a bit more kind of technical than most of designers, it's what is quite interesting.
We have other question around there. The last one, because we don't have more time. You can, during the drinks, you can ask directly, but it's the last one in public here in the auditorium.
I hope I'll make it worth. Thank you for the talk. I have a question. I'm here. I have a client. It's actually it's a different bank, nothing to do with this one. That asked me for. They wanted to offer to their clients a unicorn. So I went through a process, made a quite deep research, found a lot of things, like people doesn't really want this unicorn, probably if you fix a lot of little things, as you were saying a minute ago. Like there's a lot of opportunities of a business, that things that have to go together, so there's a whole service, and then it's solid, people likes it, they will love you. They don't need a unicorn, so to say. So I somehow presented this data to them. It's like, look, it's not that difficult. You have to fix this. Has to work. And they said like, yeah, great, thanks. I want a unicorn. So it's how you tell companies if they focus, it's wrong, so to say. They are more into the highlight for a newspaper, so to say, instead of having a compelling service.
Yeah, I think I understood. Let me give you an answer, then you tell me if it's what you're looking for. So I think the best way to approach this is first to understand what is the main objective of the business, right? So we do a lot of projects where the objective is a cost cutting, right? Just cut costs. That's the, if you want to digitize a process of optimize, it's not about acquiring new customers or really innovating on the market. It's purely to cut cost. And then there's other types of projects which is the opposite, right? It's about attracting a different segment of the market or creating a different product and service, completely different, or to start operating in a different level and environment. And for the first one, right, I always hear, no, but what are the quick wins, and then what are the, like we say, like low-hanging fruits that we can start seeing impact straight away? And I mean, to us, if you've been doing for a while, we can, okay, this is quite obvious, right? Like the onboarding process takes super manual, takes days, and there's so many handovers across different departments, no one connects with each other, so this is easy, right? Sometimes for them, it's a bit easier to connect, to see the bigger picture if they've been so stuck in one part of the process, right? But the message for me, it always needs to be, right, no matter what your objective is, you need to take a step back and look at the long term, right? Because you might solve this now, but then what happens if there's a significant change in customer behavior happening and you're focusing just on changing this now, in 5-10 years time, you're going to have a much bigger problem, right? So normally there is a way of looking to the future, and on the way, changing the smaller bits, they can be easily fixed. But I mean, at least I like always to pitch, so as long as you have an end goal, a vision, you can easily take care of the little bits.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, this fits into, I guess, our overall view of how we work with clients beyond design. I mean, we have a couple of values that are pretty fundamental to us that we try to apply to everything. I mean, one is there's got to be a material impact to the clients. That is to say, we believe that if they spend some money on us, that they should be able to get 10x or more return on that spend. And we also have a value that we have internally that we call the obligation to dissent. So the obligation to dissent is not just about, it's not the right to dissent, it's the obligation. So if you believe that what someone is doing is wrong, you have the duty to communicate it. And I guess sometimes that creates challenges with clients. Obviously there are situations where a client wants to do something, it's not exactly what we would do, but it's okay. But then there are situations where we think that what the client is doing is not appropriate, and it's our obligation, both internally but also externally with clients, to try to raise those points. Whether it's if we don't think the unicorn should exist, and I guess it's a policy that sounds pretty crazy because you're turning down occasionally work, and your client may not like it and might ask you to not work with them. But we believe is actually a pretty fundamental way to make our practice sustainable with clients. Because if clients buy your services to do things that are ultimately not creating value, they will not come back. And I can share one example. It wasn't exactly a design example, but something that happened during my first period at McKinsey, where we were working with a tech company, which happened to be at that time our biggest client in the Silicon Valley office. We were just starting. I was one of the founders. There were 14 of us, and actually we didn't have a lot of clients, to be fair. But this was our biggest client so far, and we were doing work in a division of this client, and we realized that they were getting into a business that was really a bad idea. It was a business where they will never be able to sustain margins, and they were doubling down on this thing, and it just there was no way that the numbers would work for us. And we had this discussion, and the client asked us to leave. They fired us on that. And the interesting thing is that client, that decision led to more work in that client than anything else. Within a year, we were doing something like 3 or 4 times more work in that client that we were doing before. Because a lot of other people in other divisions said, okay, I thought it was pretty stupid, and you guys were the first one to be able to say it. So I think it's the same with design. I think we try to apply the same principles on that front. Well, thank you very much for coming here, and we're happy to talk more over drinks.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you, Pedro and Alberto. Please, por favor, salimos para el cóctel por las escaleras hacia arriba, el lado contrario al que habéis entrado, y nos tomamos algo y seguimos hablando fuera.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Muchas gracias. Muy divertido. Creo que mucha gente se ha quedado con ganas de preguntar. Sí.